When you apply styles like the class style, it's very important that you apply it to the correct HTML tag. And one of the things that can be a little confusing, especially if you're new to web design, is even distinguishing between what's CSS and what's HTML. But as you get more comfortable with the basics of HTML tags, and you start to appreciate that what you're doing is adding CSS styling to HTML tags, it should start to get clearer. So here you see this is an image tag, the image here, img tag, with the dot float left applied to it. You could apply a style to this h1 tag, but right now we've just redefined the h1 tag, so it stands alone. Here you have a container. This is a div tag, the container that surrounds this entire page. And in that case, we've applied an ID style, the pound container, to an HTML tag called a div tag. If we come back over to our tortoise page, where we added that caption style, remember we added it to a p tag. What I find is helpful is if you can start thinking about HTML tags like the p tag and the div tag as containers. They surround content on a page and they sort of contain it. And when you go to apply a style like the caption style, you need to associate that style with a container because you need to essentially tell the browser, start making this text look the way I define the caption style here and have it end here. So the existing HTML tag has an open paragraph tag and a close paragraph tag on each side of this. That's happening behind the scenes in the page. When we apply that caption style to the p tag, that contains it and applies it only to that text. Similarly, there's a div tag around this image that has its own style, an ID style called photo right, which is aligning this entire div tag to the right. Now, if you want to apply a style to something that's in the middle of a paragraph, like the Galapagos Islands here, if you want that to stand out with a style, then you're going to need to apply it to something else. If I wanted to apply a style to this entire paragraph, I could apply it to the p tag, the paragraph tag that surrounds all of this text. But to just apply it to a subsection of this text, I'm going to use something called the span tag. And you'll see in a moment how Dreamweaver does that automatically. So let's just quickly create a new style. Let's just make this another class style. And let's call this highlight. So again, it's a class style. It starts with a period, dot highlight. And I'm just going to give it some emphasis. I'm just going to make it bold and another blue color. So anytime I want to highlight a word by making it bold and blue, I'm going to use this style. And if I want to use this style just on the words the Galapagos Islands, I can select them. And now make sure you're not in the CSS part of the properties dialog. Make sure you're in the HTML part, which is where you can apply styles to HTML tags. And you're going to choose that new style, highlight, and apply it to this text. Now, notice that only this text is highlighted with that style. And if I click in it, and you look down here in the tag selector, you'll see span.highlight. So Dreamweaver has added an HTML tag called the span tag as it applied that class style, .highlight. This is really helpful of Dreamweaver, but it also can be a little problematic. If you really wanted to apply that to the entire paragraph, you'd want to make sure you selected the p tag, or you might inadvertently add a span tag inside there. And that just makes your code more complicated than it needs to be. So the whole point of this is to start noticing where that style's been attached and to be aware of some of the basic differences. So the span tag is essentially an HTML tag that does nothing. It provides a container, but it has no inherent formatting of its own. It doesn't add a line break. It doesn't make anything bold. It's just a container. The p tag, the paragraph tag, also serves as a container, but it adds a paragraph break. So it's adding some line spacing here. The div tag, which stands for division, essentially just divides content on the page. And it does add a line break, but it doesn't add the extra paragraph return. So the thing to learn here is that the most common building blocks in this kind of styling are the div tag, the paragraph tag, the span tag, and how each of those three is used. Span tag is great if you want to format text within a paragraph or something very specific this way. The paragraph tag is preferred if you want to style everything in a collection. So if I wanted to apply the highlight tag to the entire paragraph, I would be better off doing that to the P tag and actually removing the span tag. And if you notice here, Dreamweaver's done that for me. The span tag's no longer here. The paragraph tag has all of that highlighting style. And then the div tag, very good for dividing elements on the page, and as we'll see in Chapter 6, really the building block for creating CSS layout.